Hi, this is Saintus, welcome back to Forge of Empires, and apparently we are having the Archaeology event in Forge of Empires in beta as well. I said this because I really thought they were going to separate the new age and this new event, but apparently that's not the case. And as for the video about Space Age Venus, it's just something that's going to take a lot longer to make. This is because it's a lot more for me to cover and review and to think about. This is because a new age always pretty much changes the meta of the game a little bit sometimes, a lot in others. But anyway, it's so much more important that it requires more time to be made. But anyway, let's move on to the Archaeology event. This event is pretty much like any other when it comes obviously to collecting your event currency. In this case it is scrolls, and just like usual you have a certain amount of missions. In this case it is 60. The first 39 or 40 I believe you can complete them immediately, and as for the other ones they are daily missions. As for the total amount of scrolls that you will earn across the event, it's going to be around 4,860 if you log in, plus the amount that you gain from collecting incidents like these ones here. There's a certain chance of you earning scrolls whenever you pick one of those up. Once you have those scrolls, the objective is obviously to spend them in return for these three different tools. Basically, in order for you to buy these tools, you need to just click on this button right here in the bottom and you'll have all of these options. The point is that for everyone really, you should always buy the biggest bundle. This is because it's by far the most efficient. All of these other ones just make you waste the limited amount of scrolls that you have. Of course, if you're at the end of the event and you don't have any more scrolls, sure, you can go for the smaller bundles, but always go for the bigger one. As for the tools themselves, they are meant obviously to be used inside this minigame here. And if you're already familiar, you can skip this part, but what you have here is basically a maze with 5 blocks of height and an infinite amount of length. And what you can do with these tools is to remove the blocks of sand and collect these golden idols here in order to earn the main prize, but also to collect some vases, which is the way of you earning the daily special. And on top of that, you can also earn tablets, which are a way of unlocking new missions, which usually don't have that much of great rewards at the end of each set of missions that you complete. But the reason why you would want to collect all of these different 8 tablets here is in order to earn the Historian reward that has a special portrait, but most importantly extra tools. By the way, just to mention, out of these 8 tablets, almost all of them are not good except for the golden clay tablet, which although yes it is the rarest of them all, it is definitely worth it because it gives you the Royal Marble Gateway, which is this building right here that offers you attack bonus for your defensive army. And finally, we have one extra feature that was added this year, and it's basically the same one from the winter event of last year, which is the daily calendar. So if you remember last year, you had this calendar with like 30 or some slots, and every day you could collect once a special key, and if you managed to do so, you would open the slot in the calendar relative to the day of the key that you have collected. And this meant that in order for you to collect all of the keys and thus open all of the different locks, you'd have to basically spend the stars every single day. And for everyone except the top 1% that spend diamonds, this was impractical. You would end up spending too many stars. I also forgot to mention that you had pick locks, which you were given if you had already collected a key. And instead of needing one key per every slot, you were now required to have 10 pick locks. However, you could go back and open different locks and thus complete the calendar, but still it would require far too many stars. And here you have the same thing. So because this event lasts 21 days, you have 21 different slots, one for each day. And in comparison with the winter events, in this case now you have a gem that if you find it while you're excavating this path through the labyrinth, you will then fill in the slot for the day. However, if you've already found the gem on that day, you now still have the chance of picking up shards, and those shards can, just like the picklocks, open different slots of different days at your choice. But just like last year's, this requires far too many scrolls, and it's not something you should ever invest in if you are not spending diamonds. And the reward as well, it's tremendous. It's 200 forge points plus 2 selection kits for the main building, which, by the way, it's actually pretty good. So in the previous video or 2 videos back, I showed you the spoilers for this event, and I compared this building to the Mikawa Bridge here, basically 6x4, good amount of forge points and goods, and 2 different options at a high level. So in here, at level 10, you have 2 different options. But fortunately they're all for the attacking army. So the Wonder Wheel gives you defense bonus for your attacking army, plus 20 goods and 12 forge points, while the Great Wheel gives you slightly less attacking bonus for your attacking army, but 10 more goods and 2 less forge points, which is very little, doesn't really matter. As a matter of fact, in this case, for me, both buildings are okay, they are great. They're pretty much at the same level, you can pick whichever one you want. I think really what would be best is for you to fill in any gaps. So if you're like most players that have more attack bonus than defense bonus, you might go for the Wonder Wheel, or if you're on the opposite situation, you might go for the Great Wheel. Doesn't really matter, they're both great. And the last thing I will cover here is a daily special. Basically every event you have a list of daily specials. The carousel, by the way, is a very good building for attack and defense bonus. The thing is that I believe that this is the best building that they're going to offer you here in this event. You also have the Sentinel Outpost that gives you defense bonus for your defensive army. And according to their post, they'll give you also selection kits for both the airship and the World's Fair, which used to be very good event buildings when they were released, when it comes to the amount of forge points and goods. But right now, really, since they don't offer any bonus for your attacking army, they are considered to be far weaker. But there's one more thing, which is the switch button right here. Now, I've never seen this one before, and I don't think this has ever been in an event for free like this. Basically, you can switch your daily special once, and it is a random switch. But I gotta tell you, this is probably one of the best things you can have when it comes to daily specials, especially if you've missed that one, or if you have a lot of diamonds and you just want to buy as many of these daily specials. Why? Well, simply, most of the daily specials are useless. You don't do anything with it, you just visit the event, look at it, see that it's not good, and return the next day, usually just to do the same thing. With this, however, you can now click switch here, which I don't advise you to do if it's for this day, but I'm going to do it anyway. And when you switch it, as you can see, you now have a completely different daily special. But what this means is that if you do this every day, the probability of you hitting that carousel or the Sentinel outpost or the upgrade for it, that is what most people are looking for, actually increases a lot. And the good thing is that there's no option for you to spend diamonds. Because if there were an option to spend diamonds, in this case you could just take advantage of this and have even more daily specials. But anyway, the only thing left for me to do is really to just use these tools right here and show you how they work. Which, now that I think about it, I don't think I mentioned it. But anyway, the brush just removes one sand tile and exposes the one right next to it. In this case, it is a vase, which is nice. As for the shovel, it wipes the whole column of sand, and the TNT just removes every single block of sand around it, even if it's not connected here. Each of them has their own uses. For example, the brush here is usually the one used to advance for certain places, and the shovel is also the main tool that players use to expose as many blocks as possible without having to dig them up. So for example, here I'll use just the brush once, then use the shovel to expose 3 more tiles here and excavate the whole column. However, now really the best option would be to use the brush once again, and then use the TNT to just clear myself of this path and advance as much as possible without spinning. And as for these tiles right here, I usually wouldn't do this, but I'm just going to excavate here to expose. And good, okay, so we got 3 different relics, which is very nice actually, and obviously in this case you should use the TNT to excavate all at once. And one more thing that you can find in this labyrinth, and I'm sorry that I'm dragging this for this long, but these are 9 different portraits that you can collect if you already don't have them. Anyway, that's all I have for you regarding the Archaeology event in Forge of Empires. I hope you liked it, and I'll see you next time.